Hello, my name is SeerSkye, and I'm here to play La-Mulana. Joining me on commentary is Lizstar.
Hi, I'm Lizstar. I'm here to watch La-Mulana.
There's a poll run on Twitter about what soundtrack to use, and the classic 8-bit soundtrack won, so we'll be hearing the soundtrack to the original 2005 game instead of the remake soundtrack for this run. I'm also going to be running with a very minor graphics mod that's just a sort of sprite swap that turns the player character to look like Lumisa, the protagonist of the second game. Because, it seems on theme for this marathon. We just had some runs with a lot of Maria. Coming up is going to be Samus. I wanted to play as a girl too, so. Without further ado, let's begin. On go, you can start the timer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So the beginning of this run is going to be a lot, and it's going to be hard to explain, but I'm going to try my absolute best. So, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to, mash through all this dialogue here. But after this, I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to mash the menu button. That's going to cause the menu to get sort of stuck. I sort of opened the menu while it was closing. Now I have the menu kind of open, so when I go into the shop, the menu's open. I can hit cancel. I went into the shop again. It's fine. So now I can go into this shop, right? And I can shop from 2 different shops at once. And importantly, I only left one of the shops there, which will come up a bit later. I tried to do a little clip there, but didn't quite get it, so I'm just going to go around the normal way.
We need to reiterate that the very first 3 minutes of this run are just trick after trick after trick, and it's really hard to commentate.
Well, there's a bit of a break now at this point. But basically, so to step back a little bit, right? I opened the menu while it was closing, and then the menu finished closing, and that booted me out, gave me control, but the menu was still kind of open. Then when I walk into a shop, I can then hit the cancel button, which closes the menu. Which when you close the menu, you gain control of Lumisa again. And so then I never actually properly left that shop. So when I entered another shop, I could go and I could do shopping in multiple shops at once. And importantly, I only left one of the shops, so I'm still in a shop. And that's gonna come up in a little bit. So anyways, we're just sort of making our way along here. I need to pick up this item here, which is the Holy Grail. This is a very important item. This is the item that lets us fast travel, like, all around the ruins. After we get this, we can warp to every save point in the game, and it also causes every single save point to auto-save when we walk past it, too, which is incredibly convenient for a marathon run. It means that if anything really messes up significantly, I don't really have to worry all that much, because my most recent save is going to be at most like a couple minutes back. So, to talk about this game a little bit, this is La-Mulana. Specifically, this is the remake, because La-Mulana was originally a Japanese indie game released in around 2005, which had a sort of like retro aesthetic to it. It was, had the look and feel of an MSX game. It was really like heavily inspired by like classic adventure games like Konami's Maze of Gallius, which is probably the game which this takes the most inspiration from. This remake was originally released on WiiWare, Japanese WiiWare, in 2011, and it got a PC port in 2012. Originally, it was also supposed to get a WiiWare release in Europe and North America around the same time, but the company who was going to do it at first, Nicalis, sort of ditched Nigoro, the developers of this game, and just sort of like, just left them out to dry, said, no, we're not going to bring this game to North America and Europe. Fortunately, somebody else did, so this game did get a English release, which is fortunate. So yeah, here we're going to see the results of it. I can go into my menu, and I can buy things in the shop that I was still in. Oh, I didn't actually buy it. I might have the wrong thing selected. That's bad. So I obviously had my cursor over the wrong place. So I selected the wrong thing and bought the wrong thing, which is kind of bad. I have a backup save just in case this happens, which I feel kind of bad about using, but just imagine that I did the shopping right, and I actually bought the reader software here and equipped it so I could scan that grail point and unlock it as a warp point.
basically when we're in a menu, we're also in the shop at the same time, but we can't see what we're doing in the shop, so we just have to mentally picture the shop, and any kind of movement in the menu could mess you up and take you on the wrong thing. And if you press down at all, you leave the shop, so it's pretty difficult to, unless you are currently trying to buy an item, so you have to have all of this, like, in your mind as you are menuing.
Yeah, I just reset up the glitch too, because it's important that I keep this sort of glitch active so I can store that shop that had the boots there. Because I need to buy some weights from it after I get the money to actually buy them, because I didn't have them when I went to that shop first.
Also,
now I have the boots. Sorry.
This glitch is really new, and it saves, like, what did you say, like 15 seconds?
Yeah, 15, 20.
Like, all of the weird menuing is like 15 to 20 seconds saved, so, all that, just for that.
I mean, it's worth it. And it looks cool, too. Like, the weird, like, multiple Lumisas in a shop. I like it.
It's really interesting to watch in a marathon setting, for sure. Have you explained raindropping yet?
No, I was about to do that. So basically, now I have the boots, and the boots are the best item in the game. Not only do they make us walk really fast, we walk like over twice as fast as we do without the boots. The boots also have this really nice property that our move speed is now a whole number of pixels per frame. So this game has a bit of a collision bug, where if you walk exactly 1 pixel into a right-facing wall... I accidentally zipped. If you walk exactly 1 pixel into a right-facing wall, you clip into it. And when you jump when in a wall, you go down. So I'm using this here in this room to try to, get down to this weight and then, sort of clip my way in, get this jewel. The usual things that you do when playing video games. One of the things about the stored shops is that it also works when scanning. So I'm buying weights when I scan these tablets, and that's when I'm getting the weights that I need. Right now I have all the weights that I'm going to need until I enter a shop properly to buy more, so at this point the whole weight stuff doesn't matter. Right now I'm trying to do what's called a cat pause, which is a kind of difficult one-frame trick. It's kind of difficult because there's just not a lot of great feedback on whether you're early or late. But basically, I wiggle between the 2 screens like this, and I have 1 frame when, as soon as, the screen hits and turns around, where I can pause the game. And what's really cool is that when you unpause the game during the screen scroll, it starts running while the screen is, rapidly scrolling to the side. And wow, this is taking a while. Okay, got it.
It's a 1-frame trick.
Yeah. One of the weird... So this has a bunch of consequences. It can cause pots to move around. It does a bunch of stuff. But it also makes those weapon covers... I missed the bats. The bats were kind of rude too, though. It makes... The most useful consequences of it is it makes the weapon covers just sort of, get displaced, right? As soon as you unpause, the weapon cover just, has its position set to wherever it is, during the screen scroll, and it just stays there in that position on your screen. So if you unpause, just as it's entering the screen, then its collision will end up right at the edge of the screen. Which is useful because it means that we don't have to do the puzzles for those weapon cover blocks. Because really conveniently, they decided to actually just have the items that those weapons are covering just sitting out in the open, just lying there, and you can just pick them up if you can get into the block. That pot there has 50 coins, so it's worth zapping yourself to break. So yeah, right now we're heading into Temple of the Moonlight. We're gonna pick up a couple of really important items here. We're gonna pick up the Grapple Claw, and we're gonna pick up the Axe. The Grapple Claw is really nice because it gives us a setup for doing raindrops anywhere. So as I said, you need to walk exactly 1 pixel into a wall to do a raindrop, but Lumisa walks at 3 pixels per frame, which means that you need to get aligned into one of 3 different pixels alignment by bumping walls or whatever in order to do a raindrop. In order to... I don't think I got that. I'm going to realign. In order to do so if I have the Grapple Claw, I can get aligned anywhere by just grappling the wall and falling to the ground. And so it's just really convenient. I can set up raindrops anywhere super fast. Because it just turns out if you grapple a wall and let go, you end up 2 pixels away from the wall. And then you walk 3 pixels per frame, so you just step 1 step, and you end up 1 pixel in the wall. And you can just jump and clip through the ground, and it's great. This is the axe. The axe is a really strong weapon. It does like 5 damage per swing. It has a nice big swing arc. It's kind of slow, but we'll be using it a lot in the early game until we get the best weapon in the game, because it's just really strong. And it just happens to be right there. It's in a sort of secret area, so like casually, you often don't find it for a while. But I'm just gonna zap myself here because climbing ladders is slow, and I don't really have a better way of getting down that ladder faster. And I don't really need the health.
Someone specified that the way that SeerSkye does raindrops is really crazy, and it is, because basically, in order to raindrop, you have to walk for 1 frame into a wall. A lot of runners of this do things where they attack and then also move right at the same time, which is pretty easy to do, and that always makes you move 1 frame.
Yes, there is a much, much easier way to step one step into a wall than what I do. I just sort of gotten used to just like flicking the right key for just a single frame. So that's what I do. I play on keyboard, so it's probably easier than if you were to do that on controller.
It is. We also haven't talked about what's it called, where you hold the A button for 2 frames in order to raindrop faster.
Yes, that is true. One of the weird quirks about raindropping is if you jump for the shortest jump possible, which is exactly 2 frames. I think that was too late a cat pause, so I think I have to take this upper route. Anyways, if you jump for exactly 2 frames, you go twice as deep into the floor. And I do this constantly everywhere. And it's kind of hard to notice, but like you can sort of like count the number of jumps that I do, right? Like if I like jump into a floor and then zip to the right and I do it in 2 jumps, that means that the first one was a 2-frame jump, right? If I'm at like the bottom of a screen and I'm trying to like clip through the floor onto the next screen and I do that in 2 jumps, that means both of those jumps were a 2-frame jump. If I fall through a floor like that, that means it was a 2-frame jump.
Sky, did you scan MJ?
Did I scan MJ?
I don't think you did. I don't remember you scanning MJ.
Oh no, that would be bad if I didn't.
It's okay.
But you're right, I might not
you can
have.
grab it pretty quickly when you go back to get
Not really. There's not really a great point to do that. Anyways, I picked up caltrops. Caltrops are really great because they let us damage boost. So I can just like use caltrops to to knock myself off of ladders. The way that caltrops works is you like throw 3 of them behind you. They sort of sit on the ground. If enemies walk into them, it does 2 damage. But importantly, if you walk into them, they do 2 damage to you. So I just have like a very consistent source of self damage. It gives me iframes. It can knock me off of ladders. They're just super useful and like my favorite sub weapon. Here we're gonna like talk to the Fairy Queen, and at this point, it's gonna be like the end of having a shop stored. I'm gonna leave both the shop and the Fairy Queen's conversation at the same time, and it's gonna get me out of this glitch state. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna do if I did forget MJ, because there's not really a great time to go.
Wouldn't you be able to just wait? Do you get the Fruit of Eden before going to kill Anubis?
Oh, right. You could do it when going to kill Anubis. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'll do it then.
Yeah, it's a little slow, but I mean, it's better than not doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a safety save in case like I screw up the segment where you normally get that item. So in theory, I could just like load another one of my backup saves, just like have a maximally invalid run. But no, it's good. This is a marathon, so I just want to show off the speed run, even if things go a bit wrong. I want to keep things moving at a good pace.
Mm-hmm. And this run is really hard, for the record. Like,
sorry,
shockingly
I kind of forgot exactly where I was for a second there. That's why I sort of paused a bit. So yeah, now we're gonna head into Twin Labyrinths. This area, you're sort of, when you come here, you're locked into this like weird area where the ladders connect in a way that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna do some shopping. We need to get the helmet. We're gonna buy some weights here too. And then we're gonna come to this other shop. We're gonna buy the dragon bone. And then we're gonna do something called a grapple clip to get into the rest of Twin Labyrinths. And grapple clips are quite hard. They're a one-frame trick. You sort of have to jump above a pot and then sort of grapple just as you land on it. But the tricky thing about them is that you need to have very specific jump heights. Only specific height jumps work, and it's still a one-frame trick even if you have the right jump height. So it's a really annoying trick, but I got it. But yeah, this lets us clip into this part of Twin Labyrinths, which is just a real nice time saver. We don't have to go all the way around and make our way over here at some other time. There's nothing like preventing me from getting here without doing a raindrop. Like, this isn't like quite a sequence break, it's just really fast compared to going the other way. Now we're gonna head to Spring in the Sky. You'll notice that like sometimes when I do raindrops, it does weird things. Like there it zipped me up, sometimes I get zipped right through walls. That's just sort of dependent on like how specifically the like collision in like the walls and the floors you're going through is shaped. So it just so happens that if you raindrop against that wall next to the grail point, it zips you up a screen, and then you can just press like right and jump at the same time to jump out of the wall. We're just sort of collecting the last little things we need before we fight our first boss. The basic route of this game is to collect the feather as fast as possible. The feather is an item that gives us a double jump, and it makes just movement just way easier throughout the whole run. And it's just, yeah, it's a very good item that I'm happy to get as soon as possible. Here I'm going to use caltrops to just damage myself so that that bat on that screen does not ruin my day. Because if you fall in Spring in the Sky there and like fall all the way down, it's real annoying and you just lose a lot of time. And it's kind of sad. So yeah, we're finishing up what we wanted to do here in Spring. We just wanted to get the Origin Seal, and we're doing some more stuff while we're up here. And we're just going to head down, make our way, and then fight our first boss, who's the boss of Temple of the Sun, Elmac. So we need to push this cart. I'm going to try to do this like one-frame trick, but I'm only going to try for it once. So, but there's like a one-frame trick where if you pause when you land on that happens. Nice, I got it. That trick's really cool. I don't quite understand how it works, but if you just pause when you land on those like platform things, they just like jump down really fast. That one in particular manages to jump past the normal endpoint, and then as soon as you touch it again, it immediately jumps up to the intended endpoint, and it looks really silly. We're just coming over here, getting this Ankh Jewel, and it's gonna be time to fight Elmac.
Time to fight Lizard Friend. I'm very excited. Rail Lizard. There's so many. Everyone has like different nicknames and everything for all the different bosses. It's pretty great. Something to note that we haven't really talked about is if you haven't played this game, the entire point is that there's a bunch of puzzles. So it's a Metroidvania where there's a bunch of puzzles, and we're solving all of them. And we recommend that you actually do play the game. You won't remember any of the solutions to these puzzles, which are
yeah,
the
I'm just
same
sort of
every
like
time.
going through things really fast, and it's like I'm just gonna be doing a bunch of things that are gonna look almost sort of random at times, but
they're
I'm
all.
not gonna try to not give away too many puzzle solutions over the course of this run, and just sort of like just go through it really fast because this game is like casually has a lot of just like these obtuse riddles, right? There's hints all over the ruins on these stone tablets you can read.
Yes, Sandra, it was a scale. I'm very proud of you for solving that during your playthrough. Especially since I had to look it up.
So here I'm gonna raindrop here, and I'm gonna try to do a forward jump when I'm on the top of the screen before like the whole like black screen wipe effect finishes, and that lets me get over to this room I'm not supposed to be in. And I'm just gonna pick up that warp point for later because it'll be useful. So here we have to talk to Mulbrook. Mulbrook's a great character, and she's wonderful. She gives you lots of hints in a casual playthrough. We're not going to talk to her too much, but we need to talk to her a little bit. Unfortunately, she's kind of sleepy. When you first wake her up in a speedrun, this doesn't necessarily happen in casual playthroughs because of the specifics of the weird point system the game uses to determine it. When you first wake her up, the game sort of like if a like hidden internal score value is below a certain point, it sets it to 50, and Mulbrook doesn't actually do anything useful until your score value hits 55. Until then, she'll just be asleep. So I need to go and solve some puzzles, and then come back, and then I'll be able to get the thing I need from her. So now we're in Chamber of Extinction. This place is dark. It's a lot more forgiving than like the dark areas in A Link to the Past, though, and we don't need to have anything to light it up to be able to do it quickly and efficiently in a speed run. You just have to sort of memorize what these areas look like, but the spotlight is very helpful for just making this doable. I'm fighting this mini-boss here.
It's also more forgiving than the original version, which is entirely pitch black with no spotlight around you.
Yes. I just sort of killed a mini-boss there. That mini-boss was guarding the chakrams. The chakrams are my second favorite sub-weapon in this game. Immediately after just running into things and taking damage, because I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, and it's hard.
You mean immediately after the caltrops?
Yeah, immediately after the caltrops. The chakrams do a lot of damage, but their whole gimmick is that they're expensive and limited on ammo. But the catch is, if you catch them after you throw them, then you get to if you catch them after you throw them, you get your ammo back. So that's really nice. So at a later point in the run, I'll be getting up to max chakrams. I'll end up with 10 of them, and I'll just be using them for a lot of combat throughout the run because they're just really good. So yeah, here I'm going to take a little bit of a detour so that I can go and scan the thing in the case that I didn't, which is a bit annoying. But
one of the puzzles in this area is that you need to scan certain parts of the background. There are hints towards it, obviously. And one of the things you have to scan is literally Michael Jackson.
Yep.
And every time you go to him, he's in a different pose, and you just got to scan him. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's Michael Jackson because he literally makes Michael Jackson poses. Like if you like leave and re-enter the room, you'll like see him like doing a moonwalk pose or right, whatever. So this is Anubis. You can sort of bait Anubis into doing this like homing orb attack thing, and then you can just sort of he just stands still for a long time. So right now I'm gonna set up the whole like weird shopping stuff again. I'm going to sort of come in here and I'm going to buy the gun, and I'm going to leave the shop with the cursor selecting the buckler. This is going to come up later after we fight our next boss. Immediately after we get the feather, we're going to fight the boss of Mausoleum of the Giants, SeerSkye, who's this big like robot buddy who like has a rocket punch or something. But first I need to go get the double jump item, which is just over here. There's a little mini-boss in front. This mini-boss doesn't have iframes, which means that caltrops are really strong against him. I said you throw out 3, they do 2 damage, right? But if you're right next to an enemy, you can throw out caltrops basically as fast as you want. And if they don't have iframes, then you're just doing 6 damage per throw. They're just really good. So yeah, we're coming up to SeerSkye here. There's a nice little like manipulation for SeerSkye where if you like stand close to him, he will always punch instead of like moving again. So we can use that to sort of like get a nice like fairly consistent 2 cycle. You'll see me using caltrops there to do self damage so that he doesn't actually hit me with his punch. Because caltrops are really good. And finish off the second phase, which just takes a while and is kind of hard. I just used that gun we bought. It came with 6 bullets, which is really nice. So we're going to make use of those 6 bullets throughout the run to kill some bosses quickly. So now we're going to make our way, and we're going to do like our first like really big sequence break. We're going to get into Tower of the Goddess, and we are going to get the best weapon in the game, the Flail Whip. There's like this super intense puzzle to get this item normally, but I'm just gonna sort of not do that. So first I have to do this raindrop here in Graveyard of the Giants. And it's kind of hard because unlike normal raindrops where you have to press right for one step, there you have to press right for exactly 10 frames, which is just sort of annoying. Like you have to press right for 10 frames and then let go.
Hope y'all are ready for the weirdest, craziest
weird
glitch
stuff.
ever.
I'm going to buy the buckler, and I'm going to close the menu so I get this nice obtained pop-up. Then I gain control because I can use that gate still. And I'm going to use a bug that lets me climb ladders fast so I can clip through that statue. I'm going to come over here with this obtained item prompt. Because there's a save point here. And if I open the save menu and then hit confirm, then I will gain control with the save menu open. So now that I have the save menu open, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to try to do this grapple clip into this room on my left. There's some like Medusa head style enemies that are there. And I'm going to save the game in this room. And when I load, I will be in the center of the room. Because the save points in this game actually normalize your horizontal position so that you always load in the same place. But if you steal the save point, then when you save, your X position will still get normalized the same way. And so I stole a save menu from a save point in the center of the room. I save in a room, and when I load, I'm in the center of the room. So I just use that to skip a little puzzle. It like takes like 7 weights and just like a bunch of time to like solve. So like that trick saves like not actually that much time, like 15 seconds maybe, but it looks super cool. And I'm really proud of having managed to discover save anywhere for this game. So anyways, with that out of the way, we're going to do some stuff in Spring in the Sky, and we're going to kill the boss of Spring in the Sky. The main reason for killing the boss of Spring in the boss here is because after we beat the boss, we end up in a very convenient location for an item we really want to pick up. That's like the main reason. We have to kill all the bosses, so we're gonna time the things so that we're doing them at convenient points in time. So here we need to break these 2 hatches for later. Fortunately, you can do this raindrop even underwater, because water just slows your speed by half, so that just means you need to take 2 steps instead of 1. And that's all. One neat thing, so I'm playing with the Classic OST. This track is actually different in Classic. This melody here changed in Remake. I'm just sort of letting you hear it. That melody there is a quote from an MSX game called Ashquin 2. And so for like, just being, making sure that they're not treading on anybody's copyright or anything, they remixed this track and, have put a different melody in there for Remake. So there's your interesting fun trivia. So we're making our way back up here. We're gonna go and fight Bahamut, who is our next boss. Now that we have the Flail Whip, which is the best weapon in the game, and the Feather, which you often don't have by the time you fight this boss, like some of these early bosses like Bahamut here, who can potentially be the first boss you fight in this game, because this game is kind of open, are going to seem a little bit underwhelming, because it turns out that the best weapon in the game is really good. Yeah, bye-bye. It's nice seeing you. But yeah, really conveniently, killing that boss leads us here, which is right above this, which is a very important item. So it works out really well from a routing perspective. We need to talk to the Fairy Queen, because we want to be able to have access to fairies to help us later on in the run. It's going to come up soon, but the fairies are helpful. There's like 4 different types of fairies. They do different things. We only need to see 2 of them in this run. Only 2 of them are helpful, but for right now, we're going to collect a bunch of just random things that are around. So, you know, we talked to the Fairy Queen, then we warped somewhere else and did something. And, you know, here we're going to pick up a couple of nice items, including one that's really important. One of the things about this game is that it has this sort of like front side, back side thing going on. Each area has like a paired set of areas, right? So there's the Mausoleum of the Giants, and when I walk through that door there, I come to the Graveyard of the Giants, right? And so there's this whole pairing thing going on. And unfortunately, you can only warp to the front side by default. You need to get an item in order to warp to the backside areas. And being able to warp to the backside areas just saves so much time. So this item here is like super essential. So yeah, we're gonna pick that up. We're gonna grab another item here. This item is not as essential and it's kind of out of the way, but I'm pretty sure it's fast. It might be faster to skip this, but it makes some quick kills a lot harder. And it just makes the game a lot more fun to play, so it's still in the route. Now we're gonna make our way to here, to Tower of the Goddess, and actually like solve the puzzles in here. We need to like do a whole bunch of stuff to get some items so that we can like remove some statues that are blocking our way. So, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff here. We're gonna be like, I'm gonna probably like complain a little bit about how annoying swimming up here is. So you just have to like mash a lot. Right, and there's like a water current in here, so like you have to mash like extra hard when you're swimming up this part of the thing. I don't know, it's annoying. The music here is really good though. Yeah, pretty soon we're going to be coming up on, well, what I assume is, you know, one of a lot of people's favorite parts of speedrunning, the completely RNG that you can't really do anything about it bit, where you just have to roll a dice until you get the right number. So I mentioned fairies earlier. There's 4 different types of fairies, and I got it first try. Okay, sure. So there's 4 different types of fairies. We need this one to show up. It only has a 15% chance of showing up. So I'll take that. I will take first try.
World record incoming.
I doubt it.
Well, you can't because you already
Also, I
loaded.
kind of loaded a save that was
Yeah.
made in advance. The Luck Fairy multiplies coin drops by 5 and item like sub-weapon drops by 3. So we're going to use that to get a whole lot of money really fast, as well as to duplicate the chakrams that we have, so that we can get up to 10 of them without spending any money. Because the chakram, it bounces, and then if it bounces again, it drops as an item. And it's, you know, the same sort of game object as if, you know, you have one drop from an enemy drop. So we can sort of like bounce a chakram into a bit of a like wall and, you know, have it drop on the ground, and then we'll just get 3 for each one we throw. And so we're already up to 10. As you can see, we have like almost max money because the Luck Fairy is really good and multiplies our money by 5. So we picked up a coin chest that normally has 100 coins in it, and we got 500 coins, which I'm immediately going to come over here and spend on caltrops, and also weights. We also need something else to buy with this money. We're going to go and make our way so that we can get a very important item called the Lamp of Time. It costs around like 300 gold too, so we needed that Luck Fairy to, you know, pick up everything we want in this run. on the way there, we're gonna kill a boss because it just happens to be on the way. This boss is like a really late boss. I think it's like the 7th in like, if there's a bit of an order to them, and this boss is like number 7. But we're gonna do it right now because, I mean, we already have the best weapon in the game, right? So.
She's also the best boss in the game.
Yeah, no, she's really good.
She is my wife. That's my joke whenever I play the randomizer. You haven't talked at all about the randomizer either.
No, I have not.
This is really fun.
I'll mention that there was a bit of like a spooky timer that was like a 30-second timer that just ran out. That causes 2 rooms in a different part of Twin Labyrinths to kill me, but if I'm not in those specific 2 rooms, that timer running out does nothing, so hopefully that didn't spook anyone. I actually don't know the alignment with the sprite, so I'm not going to do it. I just realized that. There's an alignment you can do to make this fight like slightly faster than the way that I do it without doing it, but it doesn't really matter. So Baphomet has like 2 phases here, right? First one is nice, just nice and simple. It's like a static pattern, so you just do the same thing every time and you're good. Second phase has a lot of randomness. It's hard to adapt to. There's a lot going on, and it's probably one of the like most skill-intensive parts of this run, I feel. Like, there's such a skill ceiling on this boss fight. I missed. You can hit with a whip backswing when she's in that position and get in a whole like 3 attacks in a jump instead of just 1 otherwise. I hit her too early and then made her teleport. That's unfortunate. Now she's gonna do lightning again. It's fine. Okay, and that's Baphomet. She does this nice desperation attack, and I like to raindrop out to the side, just out of bounds. I'm not actually doing this to avoid the desperation attack. I'm doing it because... So watch the right-hand side of the screen during this victory fanfare when Lumis is going to do this little dance. It's really good. I really like this. So yeah, we killed Baphomet because conveniently right through the floor of her boss room is the Lamp of Time. And that's what we really wanted to get, so worked out. We need to fill the Lamp of Time at these like nice little lamp recharge stations, which are just like the ultimate in like, before you get the Lamp of Time, like those things like mess up a whole lot of casual players who think that they're more important than they are. Which is always kind of funny to watch. This game, if you've like played this game and you watch like casual playthroughs of people doing it, it can be really fun. But yeah, so now we have the Lamp of Time, which we're going to be using pretty shortly. The Lamp of Time is really useful because it stops time for 10 seconds. And that allows you to basically like destroy any mini boss you want without like having to even care. Which is nice. It also allows us to do some glitches, because it turns out that while the Lamp of Time is going, certain objects don't actually load in quite right. And there's a certain type of object that will just fail to load its collision if we enter the screen with the Lamp of Time going. So you'll be seeing that pretty shortly. But first we have to get started on this whole puzzle. There's this cool puzzle section up here, right? There's this like whole, like, there's these 3 hints here. And unlike most puzzles in the game, we actually have to read the hint tablets in a speedrun, which is a little annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, so here we're going to see the first lamp glitch of the run. I'm going to use the Lamp of Time here, and then on this screen, there is a floor that normally have to solve a puzzle to open, but because I use the Lamp of Time, I can just jump through it. And that skips like a huge amount of Gate of Illusion. There's just a huge amount of Gate Illusion I just never have to go to. I have to get this lizard to walk into this light. Fortunately, you can kind of manipulate him by like making him attack or attacking him at the right time, so it's actually consistent. That guy can be a real pain if you don't know how to manipulate him, though. He can just sort of like jump into like a completely different part of the zone and just like basically get stuck in places where it's really unlikely for him to walk back up there. Similarly, we're going to come over here and we're going to finish up what we need to do in this part of Gate of Illusion, which is just to grab, to kill this mini boss down through this floor. I'm not going to attack him after he does that attack. Yeah. Nice and simple mini boss. Upcoming, I'm going to show off a glitch that's just super fun, but it just wastes time to show off because there's no reason to actually do it. But it's like one of my favorite bugs, so like, of course I'm going to show this off. After you break this pillar for the first time and you push it, then this happens. And the collision here is like super weird. Like, I have no idea what's going on there. It's really funny to play around with, though. So yeah, now we're in Tower of Ruin. We're gonna just come over here and get this warp point. And we have a few things to do here. We're sort of doing a bunch of things on our way to making our way to the next boss. I really actually like the route for this game. It feels like really good because you're almost always like doing things just on the way to big milestones, and like it just feels really slick. There's a lot of work put into the route of this game and making it super nice. So right now we have one of those bits of the runs where if the RNG is really bad, then I can just... I needed to equip the lamp, but I didn't. If my RNG is really bad, then these little fish here that I need to kill can spawn in positions which are just completely awful, and I need to kill 2 of them. So I've had it happen where it's just literally impossible for me to kill those and I have to reset. That's kind of annoying. Fortunately, I got it. I'm going to try to do a grapple clip you only get 1 shot at. Yeah, missed it. That's fine. That one's cool if you do get it, though. But you have to come into that screen from the one above to get that clip. So I haven't gotten the Ice Cape, which is the item that prevents lava damage. Fortunately, I don't even care about that because, as you can see, I'm not taking damage from the lava there. Yeah, a weird quirk about this game is that the collision tiles that are for lava plus ladder don't actually do lava damage. They do like default liquid damage. So if you just sort of jump into that lava pit and make sure that you like jump under the little ledge and enter where the ladder is, you just don't take damage from that lava, which is quite convenient. That's a bit of an annoying damage boost to have accidentally taken, but it's fine. Here we're probably going to do the cat pause that saves the most time. I should probably explain the names of our tricks. A lot of our tricks are named after the people who discovered them. So, for example, the raindrop is called that because the simple setup for doing it, where you grapple a wall and then take 1 step forward, that was discovered by the world record holder Raindrop Dry. Similarly, the cat pause is named that because the creator of the randomizer, the Zeroth cat, was the one who discovered it. They were just sort of like in a situation where they could just hold one direction and they just moved back and forth between 2 screens. And they were just doing a bunch of random stuff, including mashing pause, and it turned out that they did something weird. So yeah, shoutouts to the Zeroth Cat 2 for making the randomizer. The randomizer for this game is a lot of fun. There you can see how much damage lava normally does, but fortunately I have enough health. But yeah, the randomizer for this game is really nice. One of the cool things about this game too is that all of the game's like scripting and like map information and like everything is just sort of stored in the game directory in like unobfuscated binary data files. So the randomizer for La-Mulana doesn't actually do any EXE edits, which is super cool. It's able to just edit the script files only. Meaning that the randomizer works for every single like release, like every single patch of this game on every single OS that this game was released on for PC. Because it's just, the script file didn't change that much between versions. And because it makes no EXE edits, it doesn't have to deal with any of the nonsense you have to deal with when making randomizers like those. So that's really nice about this game and its randomizer, in my opinion. Right now, we have to kill this mini-boss. This mini-boss is super annoying to fight. Don't know why I had axe equipped there, and I don't know why I fell. Hopefully I don't die on the second attempt. That was kind of bad. I got kind of... Okay. Went well the second time. That's how that's supposed to look. So yeah, we solved the nice puzzles in Gate of Illusion, so now we're going to be able to get the Cog of the Soul, which does a whole lot of things in a different area that we've briefly entered once, just a little bit ago. But now we're going to go to there proper and do most of what we need to do there for the rest of the run. On the way, I'm going to grab a health fairy just to, make sure my health is good, because I kind of took some extra damage I didn't want to. And also, I want to show off a really cool trick that I discovered a while ago involving the next boss. So we're going to grab this health fairy and make our way down. We opened that shortcut earlier so that I didn't have to swim up the pipes again, because swimming is really slow. So one of the things I've been doing occasionally is zipping off of objects like that, like this. Similarly to doing raindrops, you can just sort of like step exactly 1 pixel into objects like that, and then you'll be able to, like, when you jump, you'll zip up to the top of them, and you can use that to get through certain ceilings, which is useful in places. Especially here, where doing that skips a huge amount of this zone. Right now I'm just trying to do this, this grapple clip here, which is just a bit of a pain. Probably my least favorite one in the run, just because of all the things in the room that you have to deal with while doing it. But we're skipping, like, so much of the zone by, like, taking this route that I'm taking, by going through floors. Pretty shortly, I'm going to actually be doing a dance. Do you all know the Dance of Life? It's really simple. You attack 3 times to the left, then 3 times to the right, and jump. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Jump. I hope you all had fun with that dancing lesson. So yeah, here's a mini-boss that I'm just going to use the Lamp of Time on, because this mini-boss is just hard. And I don't want to fight Skanda, so I'm just not going to. I'm also going to play some caltrops over the chest so that it opens immediately. It's just like the tiniest time save, but it's nice. Right there, that raindrop zipped me through an entire screen. Like, I'm 2 screens over now from where I was before, which is kind of fun. Gonna get the woman statue, and then we're going to make our way and fight our next boss, Vi. First, though, I'm going to fill the Lamp of Time, because there is a cool little way to fight Vi, or perhaps more precisely not fight Vi, that I want to show off. Because I discovered this, and it's kind of silly, and I think it's pretty great. So, the caltrops have this weird bug where if there's too many of them on screen, then later ones stop interacting with things. So, normally they're supposed to collide with an Ankh, but right now they didn't. So then I used iframes so that I could activate the Ankh while there are caltrops over it, so that I took damage during the intro animation and regained control. Then I can use the Lamp of Time to pause the intro animation so that I can have enough time to raindrop through the bottom of the screen. Because if you ever played this game, when you fight that boss normally and you defeat it, the game sort of like stops, and then like you get the victory fanfare, and then you get control back, and you don't actually like end the boss fight until you jump off the bottom of the screen. And so it turns out that the only thing that you need to do to end that fight is get off the bottom of the screen. after a certain point when the boss spawns. So if I get down below the screen in advance by doing that, then I just sort of get to beat the boss without ever dealing a single point of damage to it. So that's fun. Sorry, right now we're just sort of chilling. I hope you appreciate how cute the little like guys who are rolling around the balls are. The little cat ball enemies. They're super cute.
Cat ball is great. We all love cat ball.
I'd ignore the weird multicolor stuff flying around. I'm sure it's not important.
If y'all have Franker Face E, by the way, there are cat ball emotes on Franker Face E.
So, anyways, after loitering in that room for a little bit and admiring the cat ball enemies and how cute they are, my woman statue turned into the maternity statue, which I sort of need to do in order to solve this next puzzle. I'm gonna refill my lamp first, though, because there's a station right here. But I just sort of like show up here, and I just sort of pause the game under this nice mural in the background. Yeah, just wait to fall asleep. That's it. So now with that very silly puzzle chain out of the way, I can now talk to these guys. And smash through their dialogue as fast as possible. I play on keyboard, but one thing to note is that like even if you play on controller, mashing on keyboard is so strong because there are 3 different buttons that are all mapped to cancel. So you can mash 3 buttons as fast as you can, with no fear of ever saying, yes, I want to hear your dialogue again, because, you know, that wastes time. So I'm a big fan of keyboard mashing in this game. Yeah, now we're going to make our way to Endless Corridor, and, like, we're not going to, like, do much here. We're just sort of, like, going to make our way to a nice ladder that has now appeared after we talk to one of those guys. It leads us to an area that is supposed to be blocked off. There's going to be these, like, nice little, like, walls made of skulls that are like, you can't do anything in this room. But, I mean, I have boots, so I disagree that I can't do anything in here. And we're going to pick up this item here, which is just another, like, important, essential item. We still have to, like, do almost everything in this run in any percent, even with being able to clip through everything, because so much of this game is dependent on puzzles. And like, getting specific items that do certain things. Here I'm just going to chill, and then jump, and then I end up in a completely different part of the game, somehow. I don't quite know why those 2 rooms are next to each other, and I don't quite know why that crusher isn't very enthusiastic about crushing you, but I will take it, because that's a really fast way to get over there. We're going to buy some more stuff we need. I just got the upgraded laptop, which has twice as much RAM, as well as the other piece of map software. Or no, the first piece of map software, because I need map software, apparently, to beat this game. And then I'm going to sort of clip through this floor and end up in Inferno Cavern, which isn't going to make a lot of sense, but just trust me, it makes sense. It just doesn't look like it would. So I picked up a piece of software just before I did that raindrop on the surface, though, that when combined with another piece of software I picked up a while ago from a shop, gives me substantially increased invincibility frames, which is incredibly helpful. I sort of used it there in order to make sure that I didn't get, like, knocked down into a pit in that room, so I just, you know, made sure I constantly had iframes through there. It's also going to make, like, certain, like, quick kills possible. It's just great. The iframe combo is really good in this game. We still have a bunch of random stuff to do. We're gonna make our way across the bottom of Twin Labyrinths. This area is, like, filled with a lot of traps. And I have a really bad habit of accidentally falling when making my way through this segment, and just losing a bunch of time, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of like trapdoors here and walls that come down and block off your way and all sorts of stuff. But we made it through, fortunately. And yeah, now we're gonna head through here, which, well, that was a bit of a mistake. That's like a fine mistake. I can get back there without too much hassle, but it's a bit embarrassing. I accidentally walked right off the edge of the screen on the top there, because I just like made inputs that weren't quite what I wanted to do. And if you take a screen transition that the game doesn't have data for, it just plops you onto the starting screen on the surface. So I'm just gonna sort of walk back here instead. This is where I was headed. We just have a little bit more to do before we fight our next boss. Unfortunately, we used up all the Ankh jewels that we collected earlier. In order to fight a boss, you need to both solve the puzzle that creates its Ankh and makes it show up in the world, and you also need to have an Ankh jewel. And one of the cool things is that, like, the jewels aren't tied to any boss. You can use a jewel that you got in the Gate of Guidance, say, and use it to fight a boss in a completely different zone. Unfortunately, I just don't have a jewel right now, so part of what I've been doing in this segment is like doing what I need to in order to get that Ankh jewel so I can fight this next boss. The next boss I'm going to be fighting is the boss of this zone, the Gate of Guidance, which is sort of intended to be like the first zone of the game, right? Like, the manual like tells you that you should like try your best to, solve all the puzzles in this area you can before you go elsewhere and stuff. So, like, this boss here is, in a certain sense, intended to be the first boss in the game, and I have very powerful equipment. I have the best weapon in the game, and I also have the ring. I picked up the ring a while back, but I don't think I explained it. The ring is a item that makes all my sub-weapons stronger. It makes them fly faster, right? They, like, cross the screen faster. And it also makes them do double damage. And so the Chakram, I already said, did a lot of damage. With the ring, it does 12 damage, which is the same as a gunshot. So that fight, you don't even get to hear any of the boss music. You just get to hear the intro. It's kind of disappointing. The game of Vizmena has a really cool boss theme, but we kind of put off the first boss until we were incredibly powerful. The main reason we killed that boss, though, is because this boss guards an item that I'm going to just pick up now. It is also map software, because we have to look at a map in the speedrun. I have the map already. We picked that up a little bit earlier when I did that fancy, like, stand in front of the crusher and not get crushed thing. And now that I have the map software, I have what I need to solve this puzzle. So we're going to head over to where that puzzle is and Shrine of the Mother. And we're going to do a cool trick to get up there. There's a bit of a story behind this trick. This trick was discovered by RDD, but he discovered it shortly before his AGDQ speedrun of this game at AGDQ 2017. And he didn't tell anybody about this trick or show anybody this trick until he did it on, like, live at AGDQ. And I don't know, that was just like such a like style thing, right? Like, I don't know, there's basically seeing that and like the complete weirdness that just happened, right? With the screen being weirdly doubled and the elevator being on the wrong screens that you can clip up to this area you're not supposed to get to this way. That's the thing that made me join the speedrunning Discord. Like, immediately when that happened, I joined the Discord and was like, what the heck is this? And sort of had fun playing around with everything with everybody else in that Discord. So, unfortunately, we're coming up to a bit of a slow segment. There's this weird dialogue quest chain where you need to do, like, basically we need to do a bunch of stuff, and what it ends up turning into in the speedrun is it ends up turning into me doing this specific walk through Shrine of the Mother 3 times in a row. So for 3 times in a row, you are going to see me walk over. You're going to see me, like, poke Beelzebub and make him mad. You're going to see me, like, walk up here, right? Climb up this screen. So yeah, there's not a huge amount going on in this segment. I know that back when RDD was doing world record attempts for this game, he'd sometimes take the opportunity to give a Shrine of the Mother update. You know, talk about how he's feeling about the run, how it's going, ask people how their days have been going, stuff like that. And I guess that's a fair thing to say. How are all you doing? I hope you're all having a good day.
I'm doing fine. Just saying hi to Bub.
Yeah.
For me to read some donations. Yeah, we got one from Zelpud.
Yeah, no, this is like perfect. Like, oh, so we have time for donations. Like at a marathon where that would be a thing, but not at this marathon. This is the wrong way. I'm on trip 2, not trip 3. Honestly, I kind of don't mind this as a little bit of a break, though. Because immediately after this is one of the more intense segments of the speedrun. Because I'm going to be doing... Once I do this, there's like one more thing I need to do, and then it will be Dimensional Corridor time. Dimensional Corridor is an area that is quite difficult to get to. Like, it's like supposed to be like a really late game area with, you know, all the requirements to get there. And its whole thing is, it's a mini-boss rush. There are 11 mini-bosses, and then the boss of the area. And I will be just doing like 11 quick kills in a row. And it's a really fun segment. It's one of like my favorite segments of the speedrun. But it's nice to take a little bit of a break and have just a chill walking through Shrine of the Mother 3 times intermission beforehand. Just so you know, relax, calm nerves, stuff like that. So yeah, we have one more thing to pick up in this area. Well, 2 more things really, but and then we'll be on our way to a mini boss rush. But we just have a couple things left to do in Chamber of Birth. But we couldn't do this before we did that whole walk through Shrine of the Mother 3 times thing. And yeah, let's make our way to Dimensional Corridor. Again, there's this timer, but I'd have to not make it off of that screen with like the purple fog in order for the timer running out to matter. So, not a big deal. So yeah, now we're in Dimensional Corridor. The music here is super cool and intense, and I really like it. So, we have a whole bunch of mini-bosses. Gerta Blilu is this, like, scorpion lady who, unfortunately, like, if you just stand close to her, she just walks away, and so she doesn't even, like, get to attack you. That's a kind of sad fight. Next up is Ugalu, who's this, like, lion who charges at you. Ugalu can be really mean sometimes, but he wasn't mean to me right there. So, that went well. We're gonna make our way down here, to Lahamu, who's this like really cool fish knight boss. Like if you jump into the water in this boss arena, he turns into a shark. Like this guy's just cool. Unfortunately, he doesn't have all that much health, so the next boss up here is Ushum, who's this like big worm enemy who's like really annoying to hit and fight. Fortunately, Ushum does not have iframes, and not having iframes mean that he is very vulnerable to Caltrops. So I'm going to use a combination of Caltrops and a Chakram hit to try to one-cycle this boss. I didn't get the one cycle, unfortunately. I didn't even get the second cycle, because I just didn't quite connect with that set very well. Okay. That was a little slow, but I'll take it. So we're making our way over here. We're gonna fight Kusariku. This boss is the one that I'm going to use the Lamp of Time on. This boss can just, like, has a lot of health and can spend a lot of time just sort of flying around the boss arena, completely invincible. And it's really annoying. And so this way, it's just always the same fight. You just pause time and then beat him up in 10 seconds. Here's Kululu, who's like this cute fish boy, who unfortunately does not have enough health to get off an attack before you do enough whip hits to kill him. We're gonna take a little bit of a break from killing bosses because I need to talk to this dude who's just here. He's gonna teach me some magic spells that I need to cast later to solve a puzzle. But yeah, back to bosses. Here's Irma Lulu, who's this like cute wolf boss who goes awoo. Awoo! I'm gonna do the last cat pause of the run here to just get this item just a little bit faster than solving the puzzle. Most of those cat pauses don't actually save all that much time, but they're still worth it. So here's Mushnahu. This quick kill is really hard, but it looks cool when you pull it off. So we'll see if I can pull it off. And we got it. Up here is Ushumgalu, who's like this gigantic, like mecha dragon. Who's pretty cool. I just sort of like use caltrops to fight him. I missed a hit that I normally get, so I'm just gonna have to play it a little bit safe to make sure I don't take damage off of him. Next up is Umada Brutu, who is another like flying enemy, more Ridley-like. I'm gonna try to get a chakram hit and a. I kind of messed up. So I'm just gonna sort of improvise. The goal is to get a chakram hit and a whip hit in each of those charges, and then he'll never actually do that tornado attack, but I didn't quite get there. And then finally, we're gonna clip through this floor to get to Mushusu, who's like this big, like, chimera thing. I'm just sort of gonna beat it up with chakrams and the whip. One of the really nice things about the routing here is I will have exactly enough experience to get a health refill right there. And just for safety's sake, I'm gonna go and save the game, just to save the game before this next boss, so that in the worst case scenario, I won't have to redo all 11 mini bosses again. That wastes a lot of time if you have to redo that segment. And I'd rather just take the safety here. So yeah, this is Tiamat. Tiamat is this like absolutely gigantic like Naga lady, snake lady. And normally, like, you're supposed to just let her kabed on you, and just, like, sort of fight her from in between her arms, which is, like, certainly a boss fight, but I have the increased iframe combo, and I have caltrops for self-damage, so I can just sort of damage boost up onto her shoulder, and try to get a lot of damage done that way. And it ends up being really fast if you get the whole strategy to work out. I unfortunately sort of fell in between her arms in this phase too, so. And then I damage boosted the wrong way there. That's unfortunate. So I'm not gonna get a super fast phase 3 either, but it is what it is. I'm using caltrops to damage boost a lot here, just because I just want to reduce as much damage as I take as I can. I want to be safe. I don't want to die to that boss, so it's fine if I just use the caltrops to take 2 damage and give me a whole bunch of iframes, and then all of her attacks that do like 16 damage or whatever are not very threatening. I didn't equip this in advance, but... So now with that done, we've gotten 7 out of the 8 Guardians down. We only have 1 more to go, so we're getting close to the end. I just need to do a couple little things before we can fight our next boss, and then we'll be basically on a straight home free to the end of the game. Coming up is one of the harder bits of the run, though. I'm gonna do this raindrop and zip into this area here, and you'll see it's covered by this rocks because you're not supposed to know that there's actually stuff here until later, right? Like, it's a bit of a secret. And I have to try to damage boost with caltrops down that ladder without being able to see. And the collision there is really annoying because there's this lip that you can get stuck under trying to jump up to the higher platform. It's surprisingly hard to do that blind movement. So now we're gonna fight Oxhead and Horseface. They're pretty appropriately named. One has an ox head, one has a horse face. They're like the guardians of the underworld in Chinese mythology or something. Most of these mini-bosses are mythological figures of some variety that actually exist. Some of them aren't. Sakit doesn't actually exist. But, a huge number of these mini-bosses are based on actual mythological things. So yeah. And for the first time in the run, I'm going to turn on the lights in Chamber of Extinction, so you can see what this area looks like if you can see the whole thing. Looks pretty cool, to be honest. But I just need to come over here, and I need to scan these things now that they are all lit up. And download some nice piece of software. I'm going to make a hard save here, because there is a rare crash that sometimes happens on the next boss. And I just want to be safe, right? If the game crashes, then I want to have a save ready for that. But before we go quite to Palenque, I'm going to sort of take a quick detour into Chamber of Birth by raindropping into this, cross-shaped mural thing, and just, hitting a teleporter while clipped into it, which just brings me over here. And it's just to get that one item. It just happens to be convenient to get it along the way, on the way to fighting Palenque. Palenque is one of my favorite bosses in this game from a visual design standpoint. It's really cool. If you're familiar with any of the sort of weird ancient aliens conspiracy theory, you might be familiar with the inscriptions on the coffin at Palenque or whatever, right? There's this coffin which has these super detailed inscriptions on it, and the conspiracy theory is that, well, they're a spaceship. It looks kind of like that thing in the background. And so for this boss, they decided to make a boss based off of those inscriptions and make it just actually the boss riding a spaceship, and it looks super cool. I love this boss. Also, we're a shmup now, so that's fun. This boss is kind of scary because it has the potential to do a lot of damage to us very fast, but fortunately that went well. And that's the 8th Guardian. So there's only the big puzzle of the game that I'm just sort of gonna solve and not really explain the logic of too much, but it's gonna be a little bit repetitive, unfortunately. But there's the big puzzle of the game left to go, and then the final boss, and then we're gonna be done. This is wrapping up nicely. I didn't warp to the right place. Here. Okay, I found where I wanted to go. Trying to warp immediately after beating a boss can be kind of annoying because you can't really see what the menu is because the screen hasn't quite faded in yet. I don't like taking that extra spike damage there, but I sort of just messed up the movement, so... I mean, it's fine. It won't actually cause trouble, but I prefer not to. So, I'm going to make my way over here, and we're going to kill this mini-boss here, Nua. The Lamp of Time is really strong for killing hard mini-bosses, so I'm just not going to fight that boss properly. I'm just going to cheese it. And we're going to get one of the last important items we need, the Jed Pillar. Which I'm going to use immediately. The Jed Pillar is for casting spells. So now I can actually cast those spells I learned earlier. I've actually learned 3 spells, because I sort of skipped ahead in this, like, big puzzle quest chain that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, you know, chant these 8 specific spells in 8 specific locations, but I'm only gonna chant 5 of them, because I kind of skipped ahead in the puzzle by using the lamp glitch to break my way into a statue that you're not supposed to be able to get behind. That happened a while ago, so... But yeah, for the next bit of the run, there's going to be a bit of a, like, repetitive theme. Where I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna go to a location, learn a spell, and then I'm gonna... Okay, I guess I face-planted. I'm gonna go to a location, learn a spell, go to another location, chant a spell, and so on. Here, we're gonna try to do this pot clip again. Got it, first try, nice. I'm gonna try to do a silly trick here. It saves time if you get it quickly, but it's really hard. It's like this double frame perfect nonsense, but I'm gonna try it. It's kind of similar to a pot clip, but I have to also tap left for exactly 1 frame to do it. And I got it really fast, so that's nice. That there is called a blind clip. So basically, you need to get like into that 1 pixel alignment that would normally zip you up a pot, right? But you need to do it exactly as you land near the pot. And you need to let go of left immediately once you get into that position. So right there, I do it by, like, you know, trying to tap left for exactly 1 frame. We call it the blind clip because it was discovered by somebody who was doing a blind playthrough, and we all thought that that was just the most ridiculous thing to accidentally discover. Because it's just, so many things need to go right to do that. And to do it accidentally is just kind of impressive. Not quite. Remembering exactly, like, what menus to do every time you warp in this game is kind of hard. There's so much warping around, and it's very easy to just warp to the wrong place sometimes. We need to head over here after chanting that spell because I need to scan this save point. This save point is really out of the way. There's no time in the run where I ever come near here besides now. And unfortunately, you need to actually scan every single save point in order to beat the game, which is like not a requirement you ever really think about until you start speedrunning or playing randomizer for that matter. Because it's just not obvious in a casual playthrough, right? You almost never get to the end of the game and not have scanned one of those, right? So it ends up feeling a little bit silly and out of the way. Either way, we're almost done with this nice, fancy quest diversion. Okay, and that's it. We're gonna just make our way straight to the end of the game now. The first time that we went to Shrine of the Mother proper, we sort of came in through Chamber of Extinction, and we did this weird, like, trick where I duplicated the screen over itself and all that sort of good nonsense. I can't do that the second time. The second time I have to go in the proper way, which is by quote-unquote solving the puzzles in the Endless Corridor. But if you've watched this run, you know that I'm not a big fan of actually solving puzzles. So we're not going to solve puzzles. We're just going to make our way there. Because who needs to solve the puzzle to make the ladder show up if you can just clip through the floor? We get to like skip half of this floor too by just like clipping into like a later part of it. It's great. I picked up a health fairy there too, just to have the health to just like freely damage boost through the segment and to have enough health to feel comfortable going into the final area and the final boss. So I'm going to raindrop down here, and then we have to walk to the left on the ceiling so I can actually take the ladder here. That way I can actually get to the fancy transformed version of Shrine of the Mother that shows up after you defeat all 8 bosses. Because all 8 bosses that have been killed, you know, the final boss, the Mother, has, you know, shown her, the Shrine of the Mother has transformed into its true form. Because it turns out that the ruins are the Mother. Whoa. And the whole like chanting spells and a whole bunch of other things we're doing are like designed in order to try to like force the Mother into a physical form so that we can destroy her. There's a whole bunch of like plot stuff going on with this. It's like this like dramatic story that you like unveil partway through the game. I mean, it's really cool, but this area is really hard to move around through optimally. There's just like a lot of places you can take a lot more damage than you'd prefer to. But there's a lot of rooms that look really cool movement-wise, like this one. I love this room, where you just barely clear that tentacle. It's so good. I love it. So there's this like guy who turned into like flies or something when I like swung an axe at him earlier over here. This guy like is a really hard boss. So I'm just gonna use the Lamp of Time, and this boss fight is never gonna start because the walls never come down, and I can just sort of skip it, which is convenient. I'm gonna reset here because I saved the game while the lamp was active. If I reset, I actually get my lamp charge back. So I still actually have a Lamp of Time charge. And then I'm just going to do the final things I need before the game. I'm going to buy a set of 6 bullets so that I can use them to get a quick kill on the final boss. I'm going to talk to the nice fairy lady so that she'll help me out and let me access the final boss. And now we're done. Basically, we just need to go there and do the fight.
Hope y'all like this area. It's pretty gross.
Yeah. Yeah, this area is a lot. And here we go. This boss has a whole bunch of phases. So the first phase is pretty simple. I just need to like hit this statue in the mouth a whole bunch. And then we show that we filled up the nice 2 cups, you know, complete the magic ritual, and then see the Mother. She's an alien. I'm sorry if you didn't see that coming. So this phase here, basically when she charges down here, you can sort of get a double hit with the chakram, which is nice. This next phase here, just, you know, some nice attacks with good timing, some tall double jumps, and you can make it pretty fast, pretty consistent. This next boss doesn't have iframes, so of course Caltrops are completely like overpowered against it. And now we're up on the final fight. This phase has this whole thing where she like takes a certain amount of damage and then becomes invulnerable while she gains like a new attack from a boss. And so from after I do like 2 hits with a whip to her until the like little like green orb that spawns disappears, she's invulnerable. So I'm gonna do this nice little dance to try to like set up to do this fight like consistently, set up a nice quick kill at the end that should skip like the last couple phases that are pretty annoying. Unfortunately, I kind of got off cycle a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Okay. Because we'll be back on track right here. Okay. And there we go. Some other down. But, like a lot of good Metroidvanias, the game's not over yet. We have to escape the ruins. Now, you might be thinking back to something I said earlier when I made a mistake. Anytime I take an invalid screen transition, I go off a screen edge that you're not supposed to go off of, the game sends me to the surface. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be just going through the floor of this room and immediately going to the surface. The catch is that if you played this game and gotten towards the end of the game, you'll know that once you get all 8 guardians down, Mulbrook starts telling you that, you know, if the ruins collapse, come save me, right? So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go back into the ruins and save Mulbrook because A, I have to, and B, why would you not? Why would you not save Mulbrook? So yeah, I have to clip, so I clip out of the ruins, and I have to actually clip back in, because these doors back in don't actually work anymore, and you have to clip back in, which is kind of funny. We're just going to sort of make our way to Mulbrook, though. This is the fastest way to get to her, which is just sort of funny. I really like the strange path that the escape takes. Here I'm going to use the Lamp of Time. There's a puzzle that I just didn't solve a long time ago, and unfortunately it puts up these walls there that I just walked through. So I need the Lamp of Time in order to just not have to waste a bit of time going around them. Time is coming up very soon. Time will be when Lumisa walks off the top of the screen after talking to Mulbrook. And time.
GG.
So this is a game like a lot of games that has a super long credit sequence that you have to watch to see your in-game time. I think the credit sequence is like 3 minutes. I don't plan on spending 3 minutes here, but I just like to say, like, thanks to the La-Mulana community and all the people who have like put in effort and made the speedrun what it is and come up with all the strats and tech and stuff. You know, Raindrop Dry, the world record holder, Naruman High, the Japanese runner, who's the all characters ending world record holder. All characters ending being our 100%-ish category. Hidden Distance, who laid the foundation for a lot of stuff in La-Mulana speedrunning, but sort of stopped speedrunning around when the Raindrop was discovered. Worse Than You and Smurfton have done a lot of work reverse engineering this game. You know, without their work, the randomizer probably wouldn't exist, right? Like stuff like that. They put a lot of work into routing. They've like Worse Than You has made like a task build of this game, so you can theoretically like task this game. So that's cool. Like, and even just like a lot of the other runners, like Goose, Tidget, and like newer runners like Timothy, right? Just you're all cool. I also need to thank a member of the Discord called Nano for making the Lumisa sprite mod, or at least finishing it. Half of that sprite sheet is actually just stuff from the original Kickstarter demo for La-Mulana 2. And yeah, with that, I think I've said what I wanted to say. Thank you all very much for watching.
Thank you. See you soon.